This is the Blackout podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Blackout podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people doing amazing things. And today I'm happy to have Katherine Gillis on the podcast. Thanks for coming on, Katherine.
Thank you for having me.
And Katherine, you take amazing photos. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I work full-time and I do photography pretty much full-time as well on the side. And then I go to school part-time as well. And so, yeah, so it's a busy life, but
How do you handle all that?
a lot of sleepless nights or a lot of sleep and work a lot during the day.
So, what's your job, or what's your full-time job, and then how do you get into photography?
So I work full-time as a real estate appraiser. Yeah, so I do that.
Yeah, so tell me that again. Let's pause there. Let's talk about the real estate appraising thing. How, is there science to it? How does that work?
So there's a lot that goes into appraising real estate. So I went to university for that, which is where I continued to go as well, part-time. And then so I do that full-time, and I do them for the banks for the most part. So.
And what's the process? You just go in there, what's the process of doing what you do?
Yeah, so what we do, we go through, do an inspection. We look at different things like condition, renovations people have done, size, garages, land size, things like that. And then we look and see what the market value would be if that house was to sell on an open market.
Oh, okay.
What should it sell for based on other recent sales in the area?
When you come up with an estimate, is it usually on the low end or the upper end?
Well, it just goes by market value. So we don't necessarily undervalue or overvalue. We go by what it should sell for.
So then it's up to the how does it I've never bought a house before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So you appraise the house and say it's 200K, whatever. Can the owner now price it at 250, and then if someone buys it, that's it? If
someone wants to buy it for 250, it might not be there, so that's up to them to pay that difference. But that's not necessarily the value of it.
Gotcha. And do people that buy houses talk to you?
Not necessarily so much. We mainly deal with the banks.
Oh, okay.
Not so much the clients themselves.
And then photos.
Yeah, and then so that would be the other job, which I started as mainly just to have a fun side job, and then it quickly escalated from there to what it is today.
How did you, what should I say? How did you get into it? What was your first camera?
My first one was just a Canon Rebel T2i.
What?
So, yeah, it was an older one that I was given as a gift because I wanted to take pictures of my dog.
What's your dog's name?
His name is Jeter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted nice pictures of him, and then then I started taking pictures of my friends. Actually, I never picked up the camera for 8 years after that.
Oh, wow.
And then I picked it up again, have some fun with it, started taking pictures of friends, and then just kind of quickly grew very quickly.
Do you remember your first wedding?
My first wedding, yes. It was actually the one where they're walking across the street in that picture there.
Holy shit, where was that? This guy.
Yeah, so this one is walking from the Lord Nelson over to the public gardens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was a rainy day?
It was a rainy day. Every wedding pretty much was last year that I had. Yeah. It was rainy.
How do you handle your camera on a rainy day?
Yeah, so I just wrap it up, and usually if I have a second person with me or an assistant, they can hold an umbrella, or I just wrap it, or do what we have to do to make it work.
Oh, okay. And how was the experience with that wedding?
It was great. It was my first wedding, so I was pretty nervous, but I met with the couple. They were amazing, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it, and we still chat. They were great.
And what would be your process to prepare for a wedding shoot?
Yeah, so to get ready for the day. So definitely I make a shot list up as well. That way when I'm there, I never forget a shot. I always ask my families and my couples to give me a family list as well, just so that way I know who's important to them to have a list. I don't ask my couples to give me a list of like the ring shots, like the first kiss, like I know those ones. I know some photographers look for that, but that's not something that I need them to worry about. But I always get a shot list of family members, like mom, dad, me, sister. That way, because I don't know who's important. And then I just get my gear ready, all my flashes, all my different camera bodies.
Are there particular lenses you use all the time for your shoots?
So I use prime lenses. So
Holy shit!
Yeah. So I don't use zooms.
Isn't that a lot of walking to...
Yes, it is. It is a lot of walking and moving, but I like it because it gets me interacting. I don't need to stand in one place and just zoom in, zoom out, and that's it. I have to actually move around, interact. I use different lengths. Like usually I use like an 85 or 50 or 35 or what I prefer. And then just depends on what we're shooting, the different, like how small the space is or how big it is or like what I'm shooting.
So is your widest a 35?
Yeah. Usually I'll use an 85 would be my favorite for like shots, and like regularly most of these would be with an 85, some are with a 50. 35 is especially for like the wedding itself, like to show like the full experience of it.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I never even thought of that. Because I'm used to zoom, like, fuck it, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
But, like, with primes, was that a conscious effort, or was that something you've seen other people do?
No, at first, because when I had my Rebel, I had just the kit lens on it, but everyone was like, no, don't use that. Like, if you're trying to get good, you need to upgrade. It's like, okay. So I went on Google, seeing what to upgrade to, and it all said the 50. So I was like, okay, it's like under $200. I can do that. So I bought that, and that's really what I got started with. So that I got used to just moving myself around. And like I've used the zoom lenses just to try them, but I'm not used to it.
I just rather be right.
Yeah, I'm just.
Oh man, I remember a while back, I was shooting something, and then prime lenses look great. Like that's the kind of the trade-off. So the trade-off is, do you want to stay in one place, or do you want the photos to look amazing? So prime lenses are like the glass is sweet.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine gave me a prime lens, and like I'm like, why is this thing out of focus? It's like, no, you have to fucking move around to get it in focus. And it was a 50 mil. So yeah, you do that. Okay, well, so that's a lot of walking on the day.
It is. Yeah, walking, moving, getting up close, and like it makes you get kind of up and close to people, but at the same time, like you build that relationship with them, and they want those good shots, so that's what we're gonna do.
Other than weddings, do you do any type of photos, like other than weddings?
Yeah, so like what I mainly do and like what my main focus would be is to have people meet me and start with me from the very beginning. So we do their engagement, we do their wedding, we do then their maternity, newborn, just to build up everything, to keep going with their family life and show that.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I don't necessarily do that with everybody, but I do like newborn lifestyle. I also do branding sessions.
I'll pause. We'll go to the branding sessions, but let's go back to the newborn. Isn't that one super difficult?
With newborns, I don't do posed sessions, so I can't. I would think that would be really hard and probably not up my alley. But with newborn lifestyle, it's mainly just snuggling the baby. Like we'll do like laying on the bed and then their new little outfits and wrap them up and get those cute shots. But it's very relaxed, and we do it right in their home.
Oh, because I was going to ask if you use a studio.
I don't.
Yeah.
No. So anything like lifestyle, if we're doing it, we do it in their home or outside.
And the lighting, what's the lighting situation for that?
Yeah, it's like if I need to bring some flashes and whatnot, I can do that in some different lighting, but usually I use natural light for the most part. And it's never really been an issue, and we make it work.
Yeah. I mean, well, so do you shoot out of season? Because I just learned that like the season is between May and October for weddings.
Yeah, so like during the off season, photography does slow down. But that's when I do more of like the business aspect of it, building up for the next year, and doing the lifestyle like in home mainly. And we'll do the odd ones outside and whatnot, but especially last year without much snow and it's just brown and dead looking, like there wasn't much going on.
Yeah, last winter was, I don't know. Do you think that's why summer is taking so long to come?
Probably. I don't know.
But yesterday was a really good day, though.
Yesterday was good.
Did you take any photos?
No.
Why not?
I did gardening.
Okay. And then let's talk about branding.
Yeah.
How do you go about that? What do you look for when you want to do a branding session?
So usually with branding, it goes along with what the person's business is and what they're trying to capture, whether it be for their Instagrams, websites, and whatnot, just to show what they do. Like this one here, she is a florist. So
okay.
this was a wedding that she had set up. And so we captured some photos of her while she was setting it up.
Okay.
Of her. That way she can display them on like her Instagram, on her website, to show people who she is and what she looks like. That way they can put a face to a brand.
Now I'm talking of Instagram. How do you use your Instagram?
So with Instagram, I make my post and really with the hashtags to try to find local customers here, whether it be weddings or branding or just people visiting. I have quite a few sessions coming up this summer, people who are visiting that have found me on Instagram just because of the hashtags.
So, what would that situation be like? The person I saw your photos. I want you to take photos of me doing what? What?
Yeah, like usually it'll be like a family session and be like, hey, like I'm coming to Nova Scotia. I really like your beach photos. Like I'd like to do some at the beach. Like when can we do it? Or I'm here this week. What's your schedule like?
Oh, okay. Do you have people going out to places like Peggy's Cove and stuff?
Yeah, I go wherever they really want me to. If it's somewhere that I know might not be ideal, whether it be the time of day or just how busy I know it's going to be, then I'll usually make a different suggestion. Usually we'll aim for sunset, but some people I know that's not ideal, especially if they're visiting or like if they have kids, they might not want it. So usually I wouldn't say let's go to the beach in the middle of the day because it's going to be really bright. It's going to be busy.
Yeah. It's
not going to be the ideal setting. It's not probably going to look like the pictures you see on my social media.
Yeah.
So those are things we discuss and figure out.
And how much editing do you do once the photos are taken?
How many pictures do I give them?
No, how much edits do?
So in every session, I give about 40 edited pictures, but I take, depends, but especially with kids, I'll take usually a couple hundred pictures just because kids playing and like eyes shut or out of focus, things like that. That way, especially with little kids, like their different smiles and things like that, I like to capture those and give those.
And then when you take the photos, how much time, do you do a lot of Photoshop in your photos?
I use Lightroom. I do use
God. Lightroom, oh man. Yeah, go on first.
No, like I'll use Lightroom. I do use Photoshop if I need to, but mainly it's Lightroom. I just find I can keep everything cohesive that way and it works out. And
so you do a lot of batch edits using Lightroom, or you go picture by picture?
Usually it's picture by picture unless like it's all in the same thing. Like if it was say like a wedding ceremony, like where the lighting's all going to be the same, then I can usually do it faster that way.
Yeah.
But like with lifestyle sessions, I don't really pose them too much. So it's usually not the same lighting and pose in each consecutive picture. So I don't really get to batch edit that way.
Oh man. The thing with Lightroom, I'm starting to learn how to use it is that, with Photoshop, I can just drag a photo, drop it, and then it just opens in Photoshop. But Lightroom, you kind of have to, it's a process to just get the photo into Lightroom. Like you have to create a folder and then put the photos you want and then say, okay, this is the photos I want. And then, man, it's so much work. But it has a lot of tools that just make your photo look the way you want to.
Yeah, and I find it easy. Like I usually just have a reference picture on one side, have my picture I'm working on the other, make it look the same, good to go.
Yeah. I guess that works. And then so you said you do and then what are you? You're still studying the appraisal thing.
Yeah, so I do that during the day usually, and then photos at night.
And school?
In school, yeah. So that's usually, I'll do a course. I didn't do one this winter, but usually I'll do one in September and then one starting in the winter semester as well. And those I just do online, actually through UBC. So it's kind of at my own pace as well, which works good for me. But still, it's quite busy doing those and the projects and assignments. And there's always a weekly assignment due. So,
Oh wow,
yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah. And then try to have a personal life and everything like that too.
How do you do the Are you dating now?
Yes. So
How do you?
I would don't necessarily. Well, me and my boyfriend been together for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So we lived together. We've lived together for a few years. So try to make time for each other. And when
Yeah.
we're both working, we both have our own
Yeah.
lives and schedules. But try to get off my phone because that's especially with photography and like Instagram is very like addicting. Like I am probably the worst. Like it's bad.
How do you use Instagram? You put up the photos, or what other things you do on Instagram?
Yeah, so like even just like posting your photos, then Instagram stories, like keeping up with comments, and then like liking other people's pictures and commenting on their photos just to keep building up different relationships, getting like likes and follows because that's how you're going to get noticed and makes it.
But your following is pretty. It's a lot.
Yeah.
How did you build your following?
Really just by posting as much as I could, and really trying to get personal with it, not just posting a picture, being like, Happy Friday, and then post her, and then that's it. So really just trying to let people know like what I do, like even if like I'm posting like a story about going to the gym or like running the blue nose, like something like that, just so people are like, oh, I'm doing that too.
She's a person,
so then it's like they can just put like a personal face to me, and then even we'll go like to the session and be like, oh, I saw you were doing whatever, and it just gives you that extra little like something to talk about when you get there, not just random people who have no idea about anything about each other.
Yeah, let's just shoot this thing and get out.
Yeah.
How long do the lifestyle sessions go?
Usually an hour is
Okay.
usually what we'll aim for.
And is it at the person's house or?
If it's not at their house, usually we'll go like the beach or for a walk, even like at Chubby or something. Like depends on what they're looking for, whether it be like family or engagement and usually like too, I'll tell people like if you're hanging them in your house, like what does your house look like? Do you want beach pictures? Are they gonna match anything, or would you rather have like trees or rocks? Like what would match? Because something most people don't think about until I mention it.
Yeah, it's true. How do you so a person reaches out on Instagram, and then they're like, I don't know, say, I love your photos, I want to work with you. It's a consultation in person, on email, or how does that go?
Usually it's just all whether they contact me through email, Instagram, Facebook. Usually we'll just keep the conversation going that way.
Oh, okay.
Figure out what they're looking for, what they want to do. Some people get on the phone if it's easier for them. Usually I will just talk about it through there, and usually most people have an idea on what they're looking for, whether it be that they saw it in one of my photos that they wanted to do something similar, or that they have a special spot that they want it to go. So they'll usually mention that in one of the first messages to me, so that way we know.
And which of all the means of communication do you prefer?
Email's usually easiest, but I know that's not what most people go for. Usually it's Facebook or Instagram is how we actually end up talking.
Because like I met you there, so I might as well just keep it here.
So just message, yeah. And then like I find it easier to keep through the same place. Like if they originally messaged me through Instagram, we've been chatting, I don't want to switch it to email because now it's just too hard to go find the messages.
I'm talking of Instagram, what's your handle?
Katherine Gillis Photography.
Oh yeah. And your last name, is it 1 L or 2 L's?
2.
Yeah.
2 L's.
I was like, oh my god. So Katherine Gillis Photography. How do you? Are there any negatives to doing what you do?
Negatives, like I find like I enjoy it. I mean, you're not going to be what everyone wants you to be. Like I know it's easy to compare myself to people who have been doing it for a very long time. And I've only been doing it for 2 years as professionally, which isn't a lot of time, and I understand that. But it's easy to get caught up with people and be like, oh, my work's not like theirs. I wish I looked like their work. I wish I had better gear. I wish, you can wish for everything, but you have to build up to that.
How do you feel about gear upgrades? Like, how important is gear to you?
To what, sorry?
Like gear?
Gear. Well, like as far as I see it, like you need to keep up. You need to if I showed up to a wedding with my Canon Rebel T2i, like the lighting, like you can do like decent pictures with it. Don't get me wrong.
But
Like in the,
yeah.
especially like low lighting, like receptions, like it might not be the best. And when you start charging people more and more, like you need to go along with what you're charging.
Yeah.
Like I don't have necessarily all the best of the best, the newest gear. My gear is great, but if I was charging, $5,000 or $6,000 for a wedding, I need to have the top of the line because that's what my clients are expecting of me.
Yeah, I mean, if you charge someone $2,000 and then you show up with a TI Rebel, I don't know.
Like I know,
it wouldn't be a good look.
No. And like, when lots of people nowadays have, a decent camera. So when you show up with the same one, and like you need to be able to show like, I invested my time, my money, my energy into this. It's not just here I am to make quick money, because it is certainly not a way to make quick money. You need to show that you care and you've worked on this.
What do you love about wedding? Like taking photos of weddings?
Yeah, like weddings, like even before I started photography, like weddings, like I'm weirdly obsessed. Like I love it. Like I've always been like love weddings.
Yeah.
And when I started photography, it was something that I knew I wanted to do one day. And then I was approached by another photographer to see if I wanted to second shoot with her. I was like, okay, like try it out. That way it's not my own wedding, like I can learn. And then I had people messaging asking if I could shoot their weddings, if I do weddings. So I took on a few, explaining to them like, I'm new, like I'm going to do my absolute best for you, but knowing that I've never done this, but they've all been super happy. Everyone's been happy and they love it. And I love it.
Yeah, the photos you get, to me, I love them. They look great, the composition, lighting, all that stuff. But I think to me, what I love about your photos is the emotion you get from the people in the photos. Like, is it something you do, or?
Normally, like I'm not big into posing. Like, I mean, there's certain things that I'll do, like maybe, like let's get close to each other. But instead of just smiling, I'll get them to, whether it's me making a joke or them making a joke, to get a real smile, not just a fake smile. Even different prompts, like run up behind her and grab her like you're stealing her. Things like that. It makes people, they're like, what? But like when they do it, like, and they might feel so silly doing it, but like looking at the pictures later, like there's real smiles and laughing.
Yeah.
Like at the time you're like, that clearly didn't work. Like they're thinking that. Then you look at the pictures and like, oh my God, like it worked.
And you do all that with prime lenses. Oh my God.
I just run around.
Oh man. Actually, this one is for me. What advice do you give someone to use when it comes to using prime lenses?
You'd have to be to move. You have to move. Like some people, like they want to stand there, and that's fine, I guess, if you have like a zoom. But even then, like moving, like you get the different angles. It's not just front on or from a distance. Like you can move to your left or your right, and run up closer, run far away, like, and learn to move quick. And
here's one. What shoes do you use for the weddings? Because that's a lot of moving.
Usually just wear flats.
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah.
Just simple flats. That
Holy
way
smokes,
it's easy.
yeah.
Like some people I know will do it in heels, but
No.
not for me. I know wear heels on a good day.
No, man. I'm like, because I'm just thinking, if it's a wedding, say it's one of those long weddings where you have to do hours and hours. It's just crazy. But you have, and then now factoring that you have to move for pretty much every shot you take. That's a lot of steps. Like if you use a Fitbit or one of those things, that's a lot of steps for the day.
Yeah, no, and I used to work retail. I'm so used to running around. Like you just get used to it. So I just wear decent shoes.
But I mean, I guess it helps that you love what you do. And then the photos, like I said, emotions you grab from these people. I love it. I love your photos.
Thanks. When you're there, you don't even realize. When you get home, you're like, I can't move. Like my back hurts, my feet are killing me. Like I'm dead now. But when you're there, I don't realize. Like, and you also don't realize like it's been 8 hours after. You're just like, okay, like this is what I'm doing today. Like, plus like you get to be there for part of the wedding. Like everyone's there for a long period of time. You're not the only one. And like for me, I'm not there. Like it doesn't feel like work when you're there. Like you're enjoying it. Like you're part of someone's big day. Like. You get to be there with the bride, the groom, their families. Like, it's fun.
So how's your summer looking like? Like you're pretty much booked and stuff? Because I found out people book like
Yeah, like
way in the
weddings
future.
are fully booked. Most weekends are fully booked for the summer. I have a couple different places for lifestyle sessions during the week, but those are pretty much booked just because I can't take on as much as someone who maybe does it full time. I can only do so much. So, and I don't like to rush through a session or through the editing. So I'd rather just book what I know I can do, give my best work, rather than rushing through and trying to get things done.
Okay, I'm gonna end with this though. I'm a I'm someone I take photos. I say I take decent photos, and I love what you do. I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to do that. What advice would you give me?
Practice. Practice every day. Like when I started out, like I'll even get people messaging me saying like, how do I do it? Like, what can I do? And like their pictures looked like mine when I started. And I tell them like, practice. You have to do it every day. Like when my pictures, when I started, even 2 years ago, they did not look remotely what they look like today. It's just practicing, invest. It's not a cheap hobby. It's really not. Especially when you want to start building up, getting the different gear, then you'll realize like, hey, I need this lens if I want to get that kind of shot. You need to keep investing in yourself, your time, your energy. Takes a lot, but it's worth it. If you enjoy it, it's worth it.
Okay, well, practice. Oh
Practice.
I don't like practice.
It's hard, but it's life.
Thank you so much, Katherine, for coming in. I love the photos, and maybe I don't like being in front of the photo. In front of the camera. How do you feel about that, actually?
I
then?
hate it. I hate it.
know, right?
I don't like it. And now that I'm like used to taking pictures, I'm like, I hate it even more.
I don't like it either. Oh my god. Anyway,
I know it's important and like it's great. You need to have pictures of yourself, but now I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. I'm just exactly like that. Anyway, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in
you.
today.
This is the Blackout podcast.
Thanks for listening.